I am recording.
Go forth.
On this episode of Star Trek Universe, we are talking about Prodigy 1x14, Crossroads, after these words from our mystery sponsors.
Welcome to Star Trek Universe, the podcast where you get to listen in on two lifelong friends chat about Star Trek like they always do. My name's Matthew Carroll.
I'm David C. Robertson.
Dave, we've got another episode of Prodigy to talk about.
We do.
So soon after we just talked about the last one.
I know, it's because we're woefully behind.
Yes, but we're not today. Not today. This episode's out today. We're Johnny on the Star Trek.
Yeah, man.
It's so funny. This episode of Prodigy is the one where they're at this depot and they go there to try to find a ship that can take them to Starfleet. Mm-hmm. Gave me real Firefly vibes. Firefly episode 1 vibes. Yeah. It was so much fun for me. They meet Okona and he's some smuggling stuff being captured. I'm like, he's so Malcolm Reynolds right now. And I'm sure also just seeing the pictures I've seen from him in the episode in the 80s, I'm like very Han Solo.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say so outrageous.
Oh yeah. So outrageous. That outrageous Okona.
Let me put on my nerd cap and be like, I didn't like how he did. Well, he wasn't outrageous enough. For me.
Well, we really didn't get to know him. We just got a little second of him, and then we just got the fact that he's a smuggler. That's really all we got right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited. We should do a little interstitial episode where we cover that episode of TNG. It's just one episode, the outrageous Okona.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know he's in 2 Star Trek episodes, but I think he plays a different character in the other one. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was just reading about him on Memory Alpha.
I don't remember.
But his actor was in 2 episodes, but I only saw the character was in 1, so I think that's what it is. Apparently, originally, it was down to him and Jonathan Frakes for Will Riker.
Yep.
That's kind of neat.
I did know that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm excited to see that episode because I'm sure I've seen it before, but it's been years and years, so. Excited to go back and revisit Okona.
I will watch it, but I'll do so under duress.
Is that bad?
It is not my favorite TNG episode by a long stretch. But
that's season 2. It's like season 2. Season 1 is pretty bad. I feel like season 2, there's some really shining moments,
Yeah.
And I guess that's not one of them.
Yeah.
It's no measure of a man.
Right. It is barely a measure of a trek. But yeah.
But it's so funny. We were just talking about last week about how you need, for good Star Trek, feels like it needs to have that balance between serialized and overarching storytelling. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this episode completely ignored that idea, and it's purely a serialized episode.
Yeah. And
I really enjoyed it. It was just a fun time.
Yeah, I agree.
I did not leave it feeling fulfilled. I didn't get a good meal of Star Trek at all, but it felt like the first act of this next adventure where they're going to be being tracked down by the Dauntless. And
as much as dramatic irony aggravates the ever-loving shit out of me, and I was feeling the tug. I was like, just tell her. Just don't do the thing where you're like, you ever wanted anything so much? I'm like, no, shut up and just tell her what's going on.
Yeah, for real. It annoyed me a little bit.
And every time one of the kids passed by Starfleet, I'm like, cheesy Pete, man. Just say, that's what you're looking for, Starfleet. Every one of you know it, and you keep seeing the badges and running the other way. What the hell is happening here?
They're all character-based moments.
I know.
Dahl's in fear, so is Gwen.
I know.
Jankum lets himself get distracted by the fact that he's not getting enough respect.
Yeah. And I enjoyed all of those things, and I had to kind of stop myself and be like, hey, guy, this is the way these kids are perceiving Starfleet. They're terrified of Starfleet. They love the idea of what Starfleet stands for, but they think that they're going to be, thrown into the brig or something.
Sure, yeah.
They've also just suffered this horrendous trauma of being on that planet with John Noble. I can't remember his name. Sure. Diviner, whatever.
Diviner, yeah.
Yeah, Diviner, and I can't remember the name of his place, but
Yeah, they said it this episode, but I don't
They
remember
did.
either.
I don't remember. I always want to say Tal Shiar, and it's not that. So
Nope, not that. Although we did encounter the Romulan.
We did encounter some Tal Shiar, yeah. So hey. Yeah, so at the end of this episode, like I saw those credits and I was like, no! I want more.
Yeah, exactly.
I want more. They had me.
It's a different kind of good feeling, and I'm down with that. I'm down for like being excited about the next episode because the show so far has been I don't know, I haven't been as excited as I was at the end of this. Excited to see the next one.
I am too. I loved seeing the Zindi again. By the way, I haven't seen them since Enterprise back in the day, and it was great seeing Okona again. I want to see more of him. I assume that's where they're heading. It looks like he's not just going to disappear off of the show. Here was a thing that bugged me. They were like, all ships are grounded because of the blizzard, and then they like walked around for like 15 minutes, and then they ran outside with the whatchamadigger and trying to get away, from security. And it's not snowing or anything. Like there was like no blizzard happening. Right. Well, it could have been the tail end of it or whatever. I don't know. Could have been. But it was just like, come on, man.
Different planets, different atmosphere, whatever.
You just said you can't do the thing. But I guess,
like all flights are canceled due to the blizzard, but it could be like for the next 30 minutes, I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like Rock was sort of like hanging the lantern in advance, where she was like, that's not an exact science.
It's good. It's good. She also hung the lantern on the fact that they didn't talk to them. He's like, really? Mm-hmm. All of you bumped into Starfleet and none of you told them about the weapon of mass destruction on our ship. That's good stuff.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed the episode for the most part, honestly. Mm-hmm. I don't know that there's a whole lot to say about it. Like I was pleased, I guess, with how weird Murph looks.
Yeah, me too. Me too. A new day, new Murph. I like it.
New day, new Murph. And of course, I'm like, as soon as Murph jumps up on the console, I'm like, oh shit. And they're like, torpedoes fired. I'm like, I knew it. Like, you little bastard.
That was very funny. Although in the past, he's made those mistakes and gotten them out of trouble. In this scenario, that was not what happened.
No.
It often has made me think he's like smarter than we realize, because he's done a few things in the past. We're like, hey, Murph saves the day. And it's like just a little cute thing.
Yeah.
But this time, he clearly didn't know what he was doing. He just jumped up and sat on the console.
Yeah, which, thinking back on it, it's a little bit like reverse Wesley Crusher, where it's just like a devolved Wesley Crusher or something, where he's just like, whoops, I'm just a fumbling into saving the
day. He'll also become a traveler by the end of this.
I think he already is.
He's the child of Wesley Crusher and the Traveler.
I thought that like the character telling Pog like, oh, did you lose your mommy? I'm like, he does not look like a child. He's just a short guy.
You see him from the back like that. You could see making that assumption. He only sees him from the back. And so like he's got that big coat on and he just looks like a little dude. But yeah, I agree. In a galaxy of people of all shapes and sizes, that was a rude thing to say.
It really was. It was awful.
It's very disrespectful. Yeah, but it was funny. It's a funny line that like to send Pog down the like spiral there.
Yeah, and that was fun. So you take the good with the bad. There wasn't really anything really bad. I just don't like dramatic irony. I'm like, just say it, please. Yeah. Just tell them what's happening. I swear to God, just please. It'll be so much better for everyone.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know how. I was really hopeful when they got hit with the torpedo and it blew out their whatever, the Protostar drive or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, good. This isn't going to just be like a interaction and then they get away and then there's like 3 more episodes of chase and then we finally get this like resolved, Mm-hmm. So I'm a little bummed that they encountered the Romulan, it kind of feels a little more and more like whoever's writing the show, which this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it does feel kind of like they want to like play with all the toys in Star Trek. You know, like they've got this drive that allows them to jump all over the galaxy, and they're going from the Delta Quadrant to the neutral zone, and they're picking up Rogue. What's his first name? Okona? Do we know?
Okona, outrageous, I believe.
They're picking up Okona. They're going across the galaxy, like whatever. You know what I mean? Like they're just bouncing around, and it's like, let's just show off. Let's show the Zindi. You know what I mean? It's cool. I enjoy it. It's kind of fan servicey, but in these like very small ways that are like for small segments of the fandom or whatever. Like, yeah, I don't know. It feels a lot more specific than stuff that. Well, I say that. Than stuff that Lower Decks does is what I was going to say. Yeah. But Lower Decks has also had some pretty specific jokes in there. Yeah,
the Denobulan officer who escaped from that starbase. At the beginning, when we first see him in this episode, he's talking to a Kazon, and it looked a lot like the Kazon from the first episode, who was selling that Cation girl to Diviner.
Huh, interesting.
And if it is, that's interesting. And that's, I mean, not that it means anything. It's just like, hey, there you go. There's a little nod to that guy.
Or you're just Kazon racist.
Probably. I mean, I just saw a dude that looked like he had some doo-doo on his head. It's Kazon, right? He does. He looks like he's got like tree limbs hanging out. They all look like they have tree limbs hanging out of their head with like doo-doo hanging off of the trees, off of the limbs.
That's not how I've perceived them. But now I'll have to, and I don't appreciate it.
You're welcome. I do my best.
But yeah, we should definitely watch The Outrageous Okona, and I'll at least watch it. I'll at least watch it this week. If we get a podcast, great.
I'll watch it.
But just to kind of get a sense of the Okona character, I just did read a little description. I was like, that sounds fun.
Right,
fun episode.
Yeah, just dip the wick in a bit. I'll give it a tumble, and this week, and we can talk about it. Maybe even on the next episode when we're talking about because I'm sure Okona's going to be in this next one.
Oh yeah, it makes me wonder. He's a smuggler, and I'm assuming there'll be sort of like at least a little bit of like smuggler with a heart of gold thing going on.
Yeah,
because it's he seems like he's joining the crew for a few weeks, but I really wonder like, will they grow to trust him and then he'll betray them still for money or for their ship, or will he? What is his thoughts about the Federation? I was thinking about that, like. The weapon that could destroy the Federation. Like, how does Okona feel about the Federation? If he's a smuggler, is he like a Malcolm Reynolds type who does believe that, like, the Federation is the Alliance, and he's like out on the rim, and he'd love to take the Alliance down? What if he views the weapon as like a positive thing that he wants to get back to the Federation?
That would be really cool.
It would be really cool. It'd be like, them having to struggle against Okona. Maybe they learn to trust him because he saves their lives. They let him in on the secret, and then he goes on a like revenge quest toward the Federation, and they have to stop him. Or will he be like, I live on the edges of society, but the Federation is I've seen them do a lot of good things. We don't need to destroy all those planets. Will he be a good guy? I don't know. I can kind of see it going either way. It sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'm down for whatever they give us. Like I've. Partially because of our show, even though we were doing it anyway, I have really tried to scale back my theorizing, because I honestly do feel like we write better shows than sometimes they do.
Yeah, so sometimes we come up with fun little plot lines. It's easy to say once you've got all these elements in place, and like, all these elements, this is how it could go. But it's for me, the theorizing is so much fun. I don't know. Yeah,
but I'm just always like, well, that was lame what they did, because ours was better.
I do think that's the case sometimes, but so far I've trusted Prodigy. It's been good, so I'm hoping that good. Even if they don't do something we think of, hopefully it'll still be really fun to watch and something cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Sweet. Yeah, man.
I don't know what else I have. I've got an email from Stu.
Yeah, throw it at us.
Old Stu Little, by the way, he's not the only person that can write in.
Well, clearly Andre can, and we just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. But
sorry about that. Sorry about that again, Andre.
We love you, Andre.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
but yeah,
so Stu.
Give us that Stu email.
All right, let's see what Stu has to say. Bring this up.
Being the first day, I didn't know if he'd get it in time.
I know, man. I know. We tried. We tried to get it in without him, but he foiled us again.
Like, how has he seen it when I haven't?
Well, clearly because I have shit to do. I'm just kidding, Stu. I'm going to keep this feud going. Stu says, Warp 4 more like the outrageous slow Kona. Am I right? Still got it, Stu.
It's really not fair that you're feuding with the guy that you have to be the voice of, so you can intentionally make his jokes sound lamer than they are. Should have never picked this fight, Stu. Should have never picked this fight.
Yeah. Well, as we've established, I read like a fifth grader, and I don't read these before the show, so I don't have that timing. Hey, too damn much dramatic irony. Hey, Stu, look at that.
Yeah.
We agree. I expected some, but not. The crew have multiple chances to explain things to Starfleet personnel directly, but contrivance. It was maddening. Use your words. That said, there was stuff to like. The goodbye to hologram Janeway was nice. It was nice. I did get a little choked up with that, by the way.
Yeah.
And it was funny how she didn't realize how little time had passed when the crew returned to her. Vice Admiral Janeway getting more unhinged and questioned by her number one was an expected development, though kind of amusing. Her resolve to be tougher seemed to increase when she learned she was after kids. That's a good point. That's a good point, Stewie. I didn't realize that myself.
That is not how I took that, but she did learn they were kids, and shortly after fire photon torpedoes at them.
Yeah, she was just like, "Oh no, we're just gonna cripple them. Don't want to hurt them." Just getting to see how she handles a standoff with Romulans will be interesting too. I also like seeing the station they were at being outside of the norms of a more safe Federation space. And then there's Okona. I swear to God, Matt, if you still don't remember this guy from the TNG episode where he banged Terry Hatcher while Data was mentored by hologram Joe Piscopo in comedy, I'm gonna strangle you to death using Dave's hands.
Nope, don't remember it. No recollection.
And amazingly, Stu just completely explained all of the bad things I hated about that episode.
That sounds amazing to me.
The
I don't know.
worst thing ever is Data like learning comedy from Joe Piscopo. Don't make a killer out of me, man. We both know Dave couldn't last 1 week in the joint.
All right, so I have not do not remember it. I've seen all of The Next Generation, but I was young, and a lot of it I just don't really remember. I've gone back and watched a lot of key episodes and like recommended episodes, but I haven't done a full rewatch in many years. But I will watch it this week. I'll try to save my life by watching it this week. This is like reading this email is like the Ring tape. I now have like however many hours to watch the outrageous Okona. If I, Dave, can provide any incentive, Terry Hatcher was hot in that episode. Always, yeah.
So I mean, there you go.
Sure, man. That was
the only reason to watch that episode.
That was exactly why I went from a maybe to a for sure will.
Stu continues, but anyway, we got a version that's fallen on harder times, perhaps as an acknowledgement to the modern view of the character as having not really done much of note in that one episode to warrant his name in the title of it. But I'm sure his low cunning will come in handy. I totally expect that eye patch to be just for show, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I thought the same thing. Good
Really?
idea. Yeah, I definitely had that idea while I was watching. I was like, I looked back at a picture of him from the TNG episode and saw that he didn't have it, and I was like, I bet that's not a real eye patch. I bet that's a thing. I bet that's an affect.
Now I just have that thought, that idea, that scene from Seinfeld where Kramer decides that he looks distinguished with an eye patch. And we see him like come into the diner and he sits down and he goes, "Oh, this thing is itchy," and he just like slides it over to the other eye. Oh God. Stu says also Murph hatched from his cocoon and changed form. Kill it with fire. It freaks me out. Also, I guess it was too optimistic that he would actually start to talk properly, and D. Bradley Baker's paycheck wouldn't be such an easy one for this, though not as easy as his role as Eagly on Peacemaker, I imagine. But I guess his Star Wars work, which tends to require him to play at least 70% of the cast, maybe requires some time management skills. But yeah, interesting episode overall with some annoying approaches to a few things. Take care, Stu. Thank you, Stu.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, Stu's always got a few things in there that I'm just like, I didn't think about that. But damn it, man.
Yeah, man. Stu has some great analysis. I dig it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just completely agree. I think it was a fun episode with some fun things and some annoying things.
Yeah, I agree.
Mostly the dramatic irony. It's just annoying to wait around on them to figure out what's going on while we're all just like, yeah, we know. And the thing is that it feels like there's no stakes too, especially on a kind of a kid's show. It's not like this, misunderstanding is going to lead to her like murdering the children. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they're going to work it out. So they're like, the dramatic irony is just annoying.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you another thing that was annoying. I was like, I swear to freaking merciful view askew buddy Christ, if I have to hear Rock giggle at nothing one more time. I don't know what it was in this episode, why they just like she picks up the thing, she's like with Murph in it. I'm like, why are you laughing? Why are you giggling at that? And then she goes, "Aw, he didn't do anything. He was just in the sack. He didn't do anything. There's nothing to go aw for." It's just random intervals. She's just I'm like, why?
I guess I disagree with you. I find Rock and his relationship with Murph just completely wonderful.
I mean, that's fine. It's just the constant giggling. No. But yeah, man, I'm excited about Prodigy. I like Prodigy. What did he call it? Thing? It was like a little disgusting little dingle dangle from his neck or something.
Yeah, suspicious. I think he's like some suspicious little dingle dangle hanging from his neck. Yeah, I don't know. It was very strange.
That was funny.
Yeah, it was. Was that? Who was that said that? Was that Jason Alexander's character?
No,
he's the doctor, right?
Right. He's the Tellarite doctor. No, it was the guy who was at that starbase.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, I got confused last week when you said that Jason Alexander was in the episode. For a second, I thought you meant that guy, and I think I still have it in my head. Because that guy somehow fits better in my... He just has the...
Yeah, I get it. He looks more like Jason Alexander.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like, it's just another one. It's just like, dude, you're Starfleet. What are you body shaming the kid for? Yeah,
that Tellarite seemed like a dick kind of all around.
Oh, all the Tellarites are. That's their whole thing.
Oh, okay.
That's TOS, Journey to Babel, whatever it's called.
Right.
Babel. They were dicks. And that's what had that great line where they're being dicks to Sarek, and he was like, he said some shit to him, and they were like, "Is that a threat?" And he goes, "Threats are illogical, and payment is usually expensive." Like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's like how you deal with Tellarites. Like, you can't just be like, "Hey man, how you doing?" They're like, "He's up to something." You gotta be walk up to him.
I remember that from some Star Trek.
Yeah, probably Enterprise, because that's how like Archer had to like learn to deal with them to like form the Federation.
That might be what I'm remembering.
Because you basically have to be like, "What up, shit stain?" Like, like a man of worth.
All right. Well, I dug it. It was fun. We'll be back. We'll be back soon, guys. We're just doing a quick little episode about this Prodigy, and we'll be back probably with a outrageous Okona episode this week, and then more Prodigy next week.
Yeah, I don't want to promise too much.
I think we can handle that much.
We'll be back in a couple of weeks with some vague reviews of 3 or 4 episodes.
Who knows? Could be true. Jolan true.
Live long and prosper.
Thank you for listening to the Star Trek Universe Podcast, a Stranded Panda production. If you'd like to hear more from David C. Robertson, check out the DC On Screen podcast or maladjusted.tv for his web videos. If you'd like to hear more from Matthew Carroll, check out the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast or listen to his music. Just search for Matthew Carroll anywhere you get music.